I'm Adam,
I'm Dan.
and we're here to discuss and review Tomb Raider. Specifically, this one.
Yeah,
the new one.
The new one.
I guess I'll start by saying that I am a fan of the original Tomb Raider with Angelina Jolie. Specifically the first one. The second one is kind of shit. That's not saying that the first one's really good. It's not. But it was highly entertaining. I remember I saw that, in theaters when it came out in 2001, and I remember being highly entertained by it and enjoying it. It's over the top, obviously. It kind of reminds me of like the last, even though it came out in 2001, it kind of seemed like the last 90s action film.
A little bit.
Like because it was kind of over the top and kind of cheesy in that sort of way. But I still get great enjoyment out of it. Even to this day, when Tomb Raider was on TV, the 2001 Angelina Jolie one, I will find myself turning it on and watching it because I still actually enjoy it. I don't sit there and say it's a great movie or anything like that. It's not, but it's highly enjoyable in my opinion. The second one, on the other hand, not so much. Like the first one is dumb, but in a good way, and then the second one's just kind of dumb in like a bad, slow, boring way, basically. And then, for years, we didn't get any other Tomb Raider movies because Angelina Jolie didn't want to do it anymore after the second one. And all of a sudden, now we got this new one. So I'll just start by saying that this is an extremely, and I really do mean extremely, underwhelming film.
Yeah. It's average in ways that, if you could capture it and put it into words, Webster would pay you to use it as the definition.
Yeah.
Because, the thing is, it's not just average, by the standards of, nerd movies. It looks and feels like every average action movie that comes out nowadays.
Yeah, it does.
And it's got just that sort of, everything is a little darker than you think it should be. And I don't mean tone-wise, I mean, physically. Everything is,
yeah.
They're walking around broad daylight in the middle of a jungle, but somehow there's shadows everywhere. And it's dark for some reason. And, when the action scenes come up, a lot of it is, filmed, I don't know if it was shaky cam, but, everything was edited really fast, and it was hard to tell what was going on. And the darkness didn't help.
For those type of action sequences, I always refer to them as Batman Begins action sequences, because that was very much what Batman Begins was those close up, tight shots that, intercut really quickly and shit, so you could barely tell what's going on. There was a scene in this movie where, she was fighting some guy, and the guy looked like he was kicking the shit out of her, and then the next thing I know, she's got him in a chokehold.
Yeah, and I don't know how she got him there.
Yeah, I can't tell you exactly when the hell she got the upper hand, but apparently in that that fucking flash and you miss it cut.
Yeah.
She somehow got the upper hand. So basically that out of the way, with the action's not very good, is very standard and not very good. I guess I'll go on and talk about I forget her name, unfortunately, but the actress who plays Lara Croft. Does she do a great job as Lara Croft? Maybe. I don't really know, because this film is mostly kind of inspired by the recent remakes of Tomb Raider, the one that came out, the reboot that came out, I think, in 2013 or 14. That's more or less what this is kind of based on, at least inspired by.
Which, to be fair, is a little more, has strayed a little more gritty and realistic than the older games were. So I guess it probably fits the tone.
Yeah, and her as Lara Croft, I'm not going to say she gives a bad performance. She just doesn't give a memorable performance. Going back to 2001, Angelina Jolie was charismatic. She was very likable. She was funny. She was enjoyable to watch. Where in this film, it's I'm not going to say she's not likable. She kind of is, but it's just she's a very bland character.
Yeah, they don't give her a lot to do is the problem.
Yeah, basically she's just on this mission to go find her father. And there's really not much more to her character besides that.
Yeah.
She does interact with people. There is a other character, I forget the guy's name, but the Asian guy.
Yeah, the captain.
So she ends up having a friendship with him, kinda. But even that is very hollow and very just...
It's very hackneyed, and it's almost kind of forced. Like, they don't technically get romantic, but it felt like there were hints that they were trying to push that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but it's all like, and the thing is, like, their friendship literally happens over the course of, like, maybe 2 days if we're being generous.
Yeah.
And, like, but, like, by the end of the movie, it's like, I have to go back for her. Like, no, you don't. You've known her for less than 48 hours.
I will say that the bad guy in the film, the villain, who's the character I'm completely forgetting, and the actor I'm not entirely sure what his name is, but I've seen him in stuff. He's a really good actor normally.
He's a very good actor. I like the actor. Again, they don't give him a ton to do. Like, he doesn't have any big menacing moments.
No.
Which is kind of in keeping with how they wrote him, to be fair, but then that cheats the actor out of having a good moment.
Yeah.
But I will say it's kind of interesting the way they went with it, but this movie is not very well written, so anything that might be interesting is then either forgotten about completely or is just like cut off because they didn't want to go there.
Mm-hmm.
But they almost had something interesting in that the villain is not like a big menacing crazy guy like I'm gonna get the treasure, I'm gonna use the weapon or get the treasure and get all the power and whatnot. He's actually a guy. He states very much, like several times, I just want to go home. Like, he's actually working for someone else. They're forcing him to do this.
Yeah.
And he doesn't get to leave and go home until he gets the thing and brings it back to them. And so he literally says at one point, I just want to go home and visit my wife and kid. But the thing that he's trying to get, they believe is like a weapon of some sort, possibly supernatural and very dangerous, could kill everybody.
Yeah.
And so that's what he's trying to get. But he doesn't care about that personally. He's literally just begging the heroes at one point, I just want to go home. Just let me do this, and you can do what you want once we leave. But I just want to get off the island. Yeah. And like, that could have been a very interesting motivation, except that at the end of it, it just becomes, well, I'm going to kill you anyway.
When it comes to Tomb Raider, it's a lot of puzzle solving, and
that was my big point too.
Yeah, a lot of puzzle solving, a lot of trying to figure things out and piece things together. Like the first one in 2001 with Angelina Jolie, like she goes through several different locations. In this film, it's kind of just like two, basically.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
And like in the original, like she figures out several different puzzles, like several different ways to figure out how to get these things that they need to get. In this film, there's only literally one that we see her complete from start to finish, knowing what she's doing.
Yeah.
And all the other like puzzles or things that she's trying to solve, she kind of just solves either in a montage or kind of just off camera or off screen.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
like,
it is very frustrating.
Yeah, and the one that they have her solving, the one where the floor is falling and shit,
mm-hmm.
and she's trying to figure out this light. Basically, it's like a light puzzle, basically, where it's like she has to have these stones that make different colors and shit like that. Like, it was fun to see her figure this out, because she had to use a riddle, and she had to use the stones to make different colors. Like, that was a lot of fun to watch, but unfortunately, every other part of the movie wasn't like that. It was kind of just more like, get this open, and then, like, she's like, like, move some stuff.
Yeah,
like, okay,
there's
here
this
we
whole
go.
thing, like, her father leaves her, like, a little, I'm going to call it a puzzle box. It's not really a box.
Yeah,
but the point is, like, she has to solve it. And we see her do this. They focus on it a couple of times. It's not quite a montage, but, like, over the course of a couple of scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And we see her do it, and then she just opens it, and it's open. And I don't even remember what was inside it other than a note. And it's like, okay, again, you've proven to me that she's smart. I get it. But this puzzle means nothing to me. You have this movie based off a series of games where puzzle solving is a huge element. And you put puzzles in your movie because you have to, but then you don't execute it right, even though all of these non-video game movies, ones that aren't based off of this, have done it perfectly well. And again, even with something like National Treasure, like compared to like Indiana Jones movies are great movies. National Treasure is silly, but I'll watch National Treasure every day, like any day, over Tomb Raider again, because I get to solve the puzzles in those movies.
But the one thing I did like, and you kind of mentioned it earlier, was this thing that they're trying to solve, and I'm not going to say exactly what it is because I don't want to spoil for anyone who actually is interested in seeing this movie. But basically, like, they believe it's supernatural, and they're trying to get to this whole thing, and then at the end, when you get to it, the twist that they put on that, is actually extremely clever
Yeah.
and very well done.
Oh yeah.
Now, granted,
that was the one part of the movie that actually had me like surprised in the theater. Like I didn't see that coming.
yeah, and I actually really liked it. Like the twist that they take with that whole thing, with that whole situation, I actually really liked. I thought it was really well done. Now, granted, I don't know in the new video games if this is like from the new video games, like if the new video games has the exact same thing.
Right.
I'm not entirely sure, but like it surprised the hell out of me.
Yeah.
You know, like when they get to basically, you know, I equate it to, you know, basically like if we went to go see, you know, the Tom Cruise Mummy film, and like, you know, the mummy was never real and they were just hallucinating because of like breathing in like mold or something like that. Like it's the equivalent almost kind of like to that, but maybe not to that extreme. But the idea is like they take something that's supernatural, kind of spin it on its head and goes at a different angle for it. And it's very well done. And like, unfortunately, like that kind of twist, unfortunately, didn't really was deserved.
No, yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, because the movie really wasn't good enough for it. But yeah, and like, it's kind of a running theme of the movie. Like, some of the characters believe it's supernatural. Some of them don't believe supernatural things can exist. But they're all going for it anyway.
Yeah.
And like, no one really knows what they're going to find then. And so the way they handle that twist is very elegant because you kind of get a little bit of both without it really giving you an answer. Or like, you understand why both sides are right. But, like, it was very well done, and I liked it a lot, and that was about it.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, like, I'll say that, like, basically, like the first, like, 20 minutes when we're getting to know Laura, like, you know, seeing her training at a boxing gym, and like, basically, she's, like, a bike messenger or bike deliverer or whatever.
Yeah, she works at, like, a delivery service.
Yeah, like a delivery service on a bike, like, that whole little thing with her and like her coworkers when they decide they're gonna play that game and shit. Like that's interesting. That was actually kind of interesting in letting us get to know her a little bit. Unfortunately, though, everything we get to know about her within like that like 10 to 15, 20 minutes or so is completely gone.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter because, like I said, like the movie actually opens up when we first get to meet her. It opens up with her getting her ass kicked in a boxing gym, like basically going with MMA. She gets choked the fuck out.
Yeah.
And gets her ass kicked, and like even like her like coach or whatever tells her like you're still a long way off before you get any kind of good. But yet like later on when she's on the island fighting other men, basically these big fucking buff guys, she basically handles them very not easily but like very competently at least like she knows what she's doing. But that goes against what we just learned in the beginning of the film, which is she's still very much in the early training stages of her like fighting.
I remember we came out of the movie and one of the first things I said to him was, it seems to be a pattern with the movies we've seen this year, or at least the movies we've seen together, that they are mostly average and forgettable. And I'm going to go ahead and give this one another 5 out of 10. Because it is, once again, the definition of average.
Yeah, unfortunately, I agree with you pretty much 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, like the worst part about this film is the fact that, like, you know, it could have been good. You have good actors. You have the good, talented people, like, in the making of this film. And, like, yeah, like, you could have done something interesting with this, but you really didn't. And unfortunately, like, it's bland, but bland in the worst ways, basically. Like, the action sequences and the actions and, like, the fucking acting and everything's just basically just borderline fucking the definition of average.
Yeah.
I feel this way the exact same way I felt about, like, Death Wish. But, like, unlike Death Wish we actually had fun with when watching it because of some of the stupid shit in it. In this one, like, there's not even any fun to be had. Like, it pains me to say that, like, Mummy, like, last year, like, I had a lot more fun watching the Tom Cruise Mummy film last year than I did watching this film. And like, that's, to me, it should be a fucking crime. Like, how do you take Tomb Raider and you make it this very bland, just fucking generic film when you have such a fucking library and lineage and fucking legacy behind it where there's something interesting there and something you could do. And, you know, like, Tomb Raider is the type of story that needs to be over the top. It doesn't need to be average. It doesn't need to be grounded in reality. It needs to be over the top. It needs to have those crazy fucking moments and shit like that. That's what fucking Tomb Raider needs to be. And unfortunately, they decided, no, we're just gonna fucking make it grounded. We're gonna make it based in reality because everything's gotta be fucking Nolan's Batman these days.
Yeah.
So everything's gotta be more fucking serious and no jokes, like just go on for it. It's like sitting there like looking at you going like, okay, do you want to make an entertaining film or do you want to make a fucking Oscar film?
Right.
Because let me tell you right now, no fucking Academy member is voting for Tomb Raider.
No.
Okay.
And I mean, like, you know, even taking what you said, like, that works for Batman because that's who Batman is.
Yeah.
But like, it doesn't work for Lara Croft. They're bigger, grander things. And that's what the movie was supposed to be, but everything felt so small and cramped.
Yeah. So that's gonna do it for this. I guess though. So to recap, we both give Tomb Raider a 5 out of 10. Just painfully average film. Don't waste your fucking time or money like we did see in this film.
Yeah.
So that's gonna do it for this review. So I'm gonna say please thumbs up the video if you like it. Please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more reviews, and please leave a comment and let us know what you thought about Tomb Raider if you happen to go see it. So that's this one in the books. We will be
soon
back
with Pacific Rim Uprising.
Yeah. Yes. We are going to be back with Pacific Rim Uprising, and then I will also be back. I will be back solo by myself in reviews for Game Night and Early Man because I just saw those two movies. And then besides Pacific Rim, I guess maybe Ready Player One maybe we'll be back with. I know there's something else coming out that I can't remember it unfortunately, but we'll be back with Pacific Rim. So until then, have a good one.